We've had a 14-day self-quarantine since the 30th of March with the executive order. Do you know how many travelers in Puerto Rico have actually self-quarantined?
Well,
If any?
my hunch is not very many.
Right. Okay. So how are we going to now, in this further opening of the tourism economy in Puerto Rico, how are we going to make it work now?
Yeah, and this will be the key to whether or not this succeeds, is can we execute this in a way that first and foremost protects our health, those of us who live here, but also make this easy and simple enough that the travelers who want to come and are responsible and healthy, see Puerto Rico as a safe haven. So let's think of it in two ways. First and foremost, if we can allow travelers enough time before they travel to get their test in their home community and upload that via an app on their phone, and that could give them as simple as like a code, or a pass, so that when they get in the airport, we automatically know that the Department of Health has validated them. And there's systems that are being used, like in Singapore, that are doing that now. It's really not that complicated, but because it's health information, it's got to be protected, and this has to happen within a reasonable amount of time. Somebody can't go get a test today and travel tomorrow, so we've got to give them a few days to make that work. That's part one, I think, is make this simple and use technology to allow the travelers to do that beforehand. And then, if they don't have that, if they haven't got their tests and they arrive here, then we have to have the testing procedure at the airport, which is there now, but it's not being done for everybody. That's got to be so efficient that you and I can move through that in a quick and easy way.
Now, you know that one of the members of the medical task force said today that doing even just 3,000 to 4,000 tests at the airport daily would be impossible.
Well, and it may not be possible with the resources we have today, and this is where we've got to look around at what's
Will it be
happening
possible
elsewhere.
with the resources we'll have in 15
Well,
days?
that's the key question. Can we maybe allocate some of the CARES Act funding to provide for the staffing? I know you know this and others
Even
do.
if we could, is 15 days enough?
Yeah.
Today's, 19 days, I'll be fair.
I mean,
Do we have for example, the application you mentioned, do we have that ready?
I think Foundation for Puerto Rico has been working with a number of parties, including the health department, to develop a lot of this, but I don't believe any of this is in place today.
Okay.
So realistically, can we get it in place in the next
19 days?
2 weeks or plus? That's going to be a challenge, I think. But here's the good news. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. These things are out there elsewhere. I can't speak for the health department, but I can say this, that what we're doing now won't work when the visitation begins to increase. But if we can apply the technology and we have the logistical flow down, and this is the most important part, we have to communicate this well in advance so people who are coming can plan for it. Most people, I think, would rather get that test at home and know that they're not a risk, and then they don't have to worry about it.
One last question about that, and then I'll let Ana Mari do a quick translation of
That's a lot.
something. I know. How many, in the case of Alaska and Hawaii, how many travelers are arriving with that negative test?
Good
What
question.
percentage of that is?
Don't have any recent figures. We know that Hawaii has about 2 to 2.5 times the number of visitors that Puerto Rico does, but their visitation's obviously down.
Right.
So, safe to say that their numbers are nowhere near what they would normally see, but ours aren't either.
But are we talking about maybe 50% of travelers or less than that are arriving with a test result from back home?
I think early on it was less than that. But as they've begun to communicate this, and now you're seeing testing increase throughout the United States, I think the number is certainly going to grow. And that's going to be the key. Can we make this easy enough on the traveler that they've got time to get tested? And then it's our role at Discover Puerto Rico to communicate that to them.
Es clave que...
Yo sé que es mucho, pero lo más conciso posible, que tengo que ya irme a la pausa.
Pero es clave que que podamos comunicarles a los pasajeros, por ejemplo, que pueden hacerse su examen allá y que lo traigan, o a lo mejor a través de uso de tecnología, a través de una aplicación que puedan someter. Mira, ya me hice mi estudio y puedo pasar a través del aeropuerto. O si llegan aquí a Puerto Rico, pues es que sea el proceso algo eficiente y fácil para que sea, no es que pasen mucho tiempo en el aeropuerto y puedan entrar. Lo importante para nosotros y la clave es que nos podamos salvar todo, o sea, la salud de todos, tanto del viajero como los de los residentes.
I think the key thing is we're winning the battle against COVID, right? We're doing better than many other places now. We need to keep winning that battle, but start to win the economic battle and get people back to work. And that's a balance, a tough balance, but it's important and necessary.
Brad, thank you so much.
Thank you.